When I was born in Rome, you have very little time left in your life as Disney. Those are classics. Even in high school, the X on the box, like a cross, like you're not gonna last, man. And London. Who knew about the eggs? I don't know if they ever met them in high school. I know in Woolwich, yes. I know in colleges, yeah. Well, then you'd have to go to the intel communities and the intelligence. Yes, I'm in the pantry. So you'd have to go to the intelligence and find out from intelligence how after smashing somebody's other niggles lines you have pink and blue. And the religious orders. Quite frankly, when you're busy doing your shit, and these assholes are looking around and they can't do it yourselves, and then you get jealous that you hate the person when they're alive. Then you hate the person when they have their head smashed in on the good lines. Then you hate the person when they come back as Disneyland. Then you hate the person that they survived the Hague, the Kimbandam, the lowlands, and there's genetics out there in blues. A rarity. It's times. Telling me I'm crazy because I can't do that shit anymore. And these formats is classically American. We worked with geography when I was alive on the blinds and the runnings, but I didn't have the breath because I was flying on those mountains and that many times, and then runnings on those hills that many times. Didn't have breath. I realized I was holding on to a different girl, another girl. But because I was a genetic replacement of that girl with white hairs at the age of 5. And I knew about the void without her. Like, sometimes they say if penicillin hadn't been invented, and the girl had her head just smashed it. That was the Grays and Blacks, the July 20th of the 21st, and the pinks and oranges. The pinks and oranges represent Poland and Egypt, the brother and the cousin, the mother and the father, direct. And the other, cousins and brothers of the father in Saudi Arabia and Russia. So the Greys and Blacks, the Greys you could say are like on the border between Russia and Poland and Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Blacks would be full-blown Mir of Saudi Arabia, full-blown Mir of Russia. So that was the intel I came from in the United Nations. When you smashed my head in one those lines and I became Disneyland, the intelligence communities made a mask. Called with the wind, told news on the wind news. The pretense is that the intelligence continued because the ship is never alone. Ship to yacht and they just showed up on U.S. soil. So you had pretenses that she was alive, then you have pretenses that she's dead, then you have pretenses she's Disney, then you have pretenses that somehow they made negatives out of her, then you hate Disney, and then you send your psycho. Oh, well, you're pathetic, U.S. Your professors and nobodies, just like you could say the same about Europe. Reason I say that, the professors in London and in Italy, Germany, and Warsaw, and Cairo, and Saudi Arabia, and Russia, they didn't forget me because of the Hague when they brought back Disney. The family members, Polish Russians, Egypt, Saudi Arabians, and the ones I was born in, like La Sapienza in Italy and Rome, and schooling in Woolwich's, Martin Snowden, Harry Sciences, all those guys. You just read. That's all you have to read. All you have to do is look at the internet, the names, the professors, as the sciences and others. And what made me worry about the US when I became Disneyland was I looked after the smashed and had on the coastlines. I realized that it was lost. The others had laughed, the ship, the yacht, the Fall, the mermaid. The Sirena. Because while you sit on your red ass, that girl's busy flying and running, and now all of a sudden she's a vegetable in pink, and she's sitting there airing her armpits at you. Because she's Disney, ain't busy flyings and runnings, mountains and hills. She is now. I did run a little bit on crap. I'll tell you that. I was already different than another guy. Could have fooled you. You didn't know that about me. But what's funny is power. Pray met the presidents, those guys. Hollywood, I just look at people. And I come to the point where I see a girl, July 22-1, who had her head smashed in on the coastlines, comes back as Disneyland, plumb and dime, born on that day, in Disney mode. In comparison to what she used to be before, just bizarre. I don't like comparisons, but, So when it's on the news connected to what's to about, she has no reason to explain herself to the world except for the fact that the world is still speaking about that dead baby. Literally. Between Rome, London, even Berlin, was international expression of rapists. Why? I don't know. I really don't know. All I know is that I never cried. I was a perfect child. I never cried. I only cried when I peed in South Africa and Mozambique. I grew up there for 5 years and I moved back to Rome. I was naturalized when I was, 3 days old. I was there when I was 3 days old, and I just waited a few months or something to get naturalized in New Hampshire. The parents are from New York, California. You see, US, you don't show respect for work. You see, I'll tell you something. It's like when you see She Devil, Rose are, when you show, make it more obvious, how bad this place is, how bad the US is. And I know you don't want to listen. I'll put it this way. Being a thug with muscles is probably the easiest. I think there's 9 billion. If I look at statistics, there's 9 billion people on the planet. And it's also the easiest to kill that kind of until July 2021, come back as Disneyland. Still want to kill her because of Grizzly of the US. But not be able to open those buildings. I know you don't believe that exists. Especially in a female in stupid times, because you're fucking Americans. I'm 51 years old. I've had that Social Security number, even without the Social Security number, just that face. Ever since that girl had her head smashed in on those lines, everyone's speaking about different teeth, different nails, different eyebrows. Only the eyebrows are the same, but even the eyebrows, they're white. They're fucking white. Everyone has white eyebrows. The face is completely different. You see, people remember the face. They remember the original girl's face. And somehow, because of the eyebrows and something else in me, they remember that. I can tell you I'm not that girl. I'm so tired of your hate. It is the hate that's tiring. Is it? Hate is what drains you. I'm not a hater, but if I could bomb the US, I would. I'll tell you right now on Facebook. I'll tell you now, you are bad people. You're losers. And you're losers without a brain. Literally. And I can't express to you how stupid you are in the US. It's like it's to die, to cry for. It's not a question of the idiot of Dostoevsky. You are just so. You've come to the level of such stupidity in this country and such hate that no matter what you lose on your lines of science and tech, no matter what space tech you lose, your brains don't even know it has happened. Because your memory is so short that even Disneyland can show you. You didn't make me forget who I am. You sent your psychos. You sent people who want me dead. For fun. After the Hague of Dirk Van Dam. Now, intelligence of that kind, maybe it does die quite often on this planet. Or maybe not. Maybe not of that kind. Not so often. And not in such a spectacular way like the Hague. Not if there is a ship, not if there's the mermaid of the ship, ship Tia, and she's a mermaid. Not depending on what her job was in that world, on the coastlines in other countries. But to be so in denial of what you are as people. And even the intel. You didn't have to do the flyings and the runnings for the barons or the flyings and the runnings and the coastlines around the world for the science. You just sat on your fat American ugly ass. And then, when you hated the original Jamalanda coastlines and they called her Delph, you brought back Disneyland and you sent psychos to her. Even if she had been known for beautiful things when she was alive. And for loving her family. On her flyings and runnings, defending them against Fresno's intelligence on the retirements of the parents. This story is one of the saddest stories in the European Union. I'm not religious. The reason I don't speak about religion is because you're so insanely jealous. The rot up your ass and your brains in the US is so advanced that even if you smash that girl's head in on the coastlines in the Opus Dei, blessed her long ago, because she was born in Rome, I was born in Rome, and the same hospital the original girl was born in. Do you understand that, fucking horse? Do you understand what you are? Parents are born in pioneer camps beyond the capital cities. That's it. They were pioneers at very young ages, at the ages of 5. She moved to Warsaw. He moved to Cairo. They were pioneers in just about everything, including sports. I grew up like Sophie's World by Joel Osteen or some childhood book that Tiziana Vian gave me, as you were saying. Your parents are basically, I don't know how to say it to you. They come from pioneer camps beyond the Garbage, says something else. The directress of Austria, TSUR, USA, there is. Humanitarian Relief Services. They've been all over Africa, Asia, South America on helicopters dropping aid, mostly natural disaster relief. They've only been to Iraq 2 or 3 times. They heard your Shatterford journeys. Your hate, yeah, thanks. Everywhere. From me. On the crab to crabby. Because I started listening to your people, you see. Before I was too busy flying and running, so I'm listening to the American people, the people on the street, the smelly asses, the racists, the Jews, the baboon Jewish lady who thinks they're ladies of the house. Oh my God. Sure. Hurry up in this general slice, fun bitch. Day a man dies with his head smashed in, and he had a great discovery in his head, and that shit's empty. And they clone him. So they make like a lookalike that's like a Disney version of him. And then the people they're looking at him like he's a freak. And then all of a sudden like they start beating him up or raping him or wanting to hurt him or hating him, and then the verbal vitriol, and then this and cycles and stuff. And then on top of that, they hate the parents on retirement suppressed. If that's your people, US, no wonder you're elected Trump. No wonder your country is fucked up. If the people in the country are retards, yeah, I'll speak to them about your college kids. They're all on drugs and they're all whores. I didn't use drugs. You tried everything to break me down. I'm not a narcoman. I'm not a prostitute. I'm not even a bitch. And I ain't a whore. You raped me. You want to use sex. You want to use knives. Go ahead. I'm not going to fight psychopaths. I don't. But I don't call it rape. All this, be prepared on those guys, no. Those men who met the original girl, who really was a phenomenon, and really was something else, and really was very beautiful. Unfortunately, she had her head smashed in on your lines, and you're still talking about her and was. The aspect to one. That's why Disneyland, not much of a good replacement. Child, genetically speaking, parents will not give rebirth a girl after her head smashed on the lines. The same one, you understand? They will give birth to little Disney. The terror came from that. To see such kind of intelligence with such record breaks of July 22-1 become Disney. And see the death of such advanced intel on those lines, smashed head and smashed teeth. That was the terror that I grew up with as a child in Italy and the UN with the Skull Clan film and Radio Globo. Because by now, you know that radios were invented 200 years ago after smashed head on the coastlines. The Delft, the Bilderberg Church, the Newkirk Church, 142, 147, 147, of the 21st century. Very famous, but Disney now. After The Hague, after Dirk Van Dam, after the Bureau de Veritas, and now gone. So this happened all over Europe long ago, as in, it's already famous and known. It's films and radios, stay out of the US, it's Disney, they forgot about her, because the Americans are arrogant, they got the PhDs up their ass, they don't give a shit about nothing. They literally don't give a shit about nothing. When they hate on the wrong coastlines and then they complain about it with pretense, bring back Disneyland. What an education, what a theoretical ass you are. So, you see, and in that book, Sophie is a Satanist. The best I can describe. I've seen people hate each other, okay, but I haven't seen people hate each other after The Hague. And sort of say, well, that's like a white dove. Not fight, and she's fighting for the parents. But there's still that hate in the US for this guy. But they are what they are. They're the people. They're the ones that did a lot of shelter mostly. And some other places. They're the ones that followed from Fresno. Many of them really are psychos. And I feel sorry for them. But when I look at Fresno, I see something else. I see, even the intel that was sent. Nobody trusts you. Because if they say to you, A, you killed that girl, and we could see it coming like from China. And we know who Fresno is. And they're saying to you, well, we know that it's an ass of Fresno. You know, you don't bring back the dead in Disney mode. You know, if I asked anyone in Fresno, or even San Francisco, reopen the buildings on the ghost lines of that girl, do you think they will? That's the old news on the news, gone where they went. Do you think they will? Do you think if they'd even open the pink and oranges of cancer and other things? No, they won't. But, you know, they smashed her head on the coastlines, and those blues. Shit, they made, you know, it's like Google Maps or something. You see, the intelligence community should not have said that to you in the US. Because you didn't understand the wormhole to the worm, you didn't understand the smashed in head on the coastlines of the original girl. You didn't understand the stand-in, the pin-up girl. You didn't understand anything. You just sat there, and this is the old news on the news con with the wind, and you're sending psychos against me. This is not a country, US. You know, I realize you have a PhD and you got a limousine, but quite frankly, just fucking kill me now and finish with it. Why don't we just stay enrolled for retirement with the Scotland film that I developed? I mean, you can keep all your bitches and whores and assholes with their PhDs, or no PhDs, limousines, poor, rich, chulas, 5X, bra, small, gaping assholes, the whole shit. Keep them. You can do what you want. The more you have of those girls, the more stupid your country will be. Come to the point. Did you have to bring back Disneyland from The Hague? From that kind of intelligence that had its head smashed in on the coastlines and emptified buildings without them being financial Jewish banks? Fucking asshole. And I detest the Mossad. The thing about calling me a Jew has sort of reached, I mean, the insults that, I lived with a father and a mother in Fresno. I did connect to those who were about. In this format, it's not exactly what we would call, to The Hague on those lines. It's like a piece of paper, It's like and there's a Jimmy, one day you'll be thankful. You'll say it. You're a piece of paper. Hey, Bureau de Veritas, Roman Tribunal, European Federal Tribunal for the Psychostokers. All of that for one guy, for scroll. Says, why would I be happy about that? Because they deny, they hate. Looked at them as at them. But there's proof that girl existed and that she was famous and had her head smashed in on the coastlines and came back as Disneyland and became Disneyland, and you hate her still. That's a known fact, US, with your PhDs. What shouldn't be my shut? Yeah, that's a little just for your sick bitches. Should I add whores? Should not. I ain't even fucking explain that part. Not the doctors. Not the Intel, because for the Intel, the girl's already dead. She already had her smashed down also. Take. Please say it. And, of course, the outcome long ago is -0 on the coastlines from the pink, oranges, grays, and blacks. Poland, Russia, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, the scientists, UN, whoever in Italy or England, the scientists and villagers at universities and other places were with me. And that's it. You see what I'm saying? Now, because that's all news on the news going with the wind, and they already have films and radios to stay out of your greatest intelligence of sciences, feats beyond Russia and China and Saudi and UN and Germany. What? That's what I was good at, but it's okay. I'm dead. I already had my head smashed down on the side. And when I say good, let's just say I was the mermaid. You can't look at this. So this is what they put me through with Schadenfreude Jr. and much more. And then there's, of course, Fresno for the parents or retirement. So these pioneer camps beyond the capital cities, these about 5 years old, they go to Cairo, Warsaw, and become D2s, D1s. They're peoples like them, you see. I was in so much pain as dizzy. After the smashed in, I don't know what size a particular one called. This train pulled in the house. And then this one. For the parents and for myself. Connected the dots for what's about that. When I went, the Crawleys to those capital cities for the parents. Also during retirement, of course, when I was younger, during retirements, and after retirement, I couldn't understand how sheep the US was. My intelligence, even Disney couldn't understand it. And why you were so violent. That's why you're violent. Unfortunately, that's exactly how small countries work. Small countries react like that. The smaller the country, the more violent they are, right? Well, at least psychologically. Think about like Taiwan or like, I'll give that example. Like, but we get the idea. Minorities, yeah? All right. But the US is not a minority. But why do people come to the US? People come to the US to better themselves, to run away from war. If they're Jewish, probably because everyone hates them around the world, so it's their history. I know they like to erase history, the Jews, but even intermarriage they think is going to help them. No. It's just an ethnic thing of the Jews. And then you have, I'm really sorry if I offend you, but, if you can't even look at the basic history in the world, you don't know how to look at your own fears. Like people like you, I don't have any wise words to say because I'm not that girl. Nor do I have pretenses to be that girl who was too busy flying and running to say something. And defending the parents and having her head smashed in on those slides coming back as this loud. I am tired. I'm not even the beginning of the ass wipe when I had resistance as crab because now I became crabby. Okay. And plus I'm 51 years old, so that's 11 years out of Fresno. In my opinion, your country is not worth it. And the reason I found your country extremely easy on the flyings and runnings was because it was. But that doesn't detract the fact that you're violent haters. In Fresno, I don't know what's nice. The hanging benches of Laura Quintas and Nadia Recht have been there ever since because of their jobs. You see, the Osro, TCOI, USA, CRS, D2s, D1s, they're small offices, as it says, mostly in Africa, Asia, South America, dropping aid in helicopters. And as I keep repeating, they were in Iraq only twice or three times. It was just about every department, every office had an Iraqi overfood program. Even the forestry division, I'm not fucking kidding. Like everywhere, So, to me, and then, there's Rome, there's Switzerland, there's Austria, there's New York. We were based in Rome. And Switzerland has a lot of buildings, a lot of departments. Austria has a lot of buildings, a lot of departments. Rome has so many buildings and so many departments. And New York, that's Fresno. Again, they keep calling 559. You see, you will understand this about fear. I'm not afraid to die because that girl already had her head smashed in on those lines. I was afraid of not being able to get out of Fresno to start a revolution for the parents because I knew they knew around the world. And without me, there wouldn't have been that noise because it would have been noise, it would have been shouting, but it wouldn't get to Fresno, it wouldn't get to California. California would be just sitting there like, well, what? But with me, it wasn't just like the Greyhound of psychos stalking me from Fresno, San Quentin in LA, federal prison from Fresno. In San Francisco, all the psychs and all the rest and bitches and cheerleaders down here thinking, I'll just have fun with Disneyland. You're not a forward-thinking country. You are actually a very backward country in science. Between the Russians, the Chinese, the Saudis, and the Germans. And in fact, most of your scientists come from there and you pay them cash to do shit. Unfortunately, one of the leaders had her head smashed in on the coastlines with The Hague. She took her ship with yacht with bridges, Made a pin-up girl, Disneyland, old news, Gone with the Wind, and you're still denying it because you're bitches and whores. But that's the US. And lying and sending your psychos. So this is already on paperwork. I can't change it. You know when they say it's paper, it's official paper. It's The Hague, it's Bureau de Veritas, and it's the European Federal Tribunal for your bitches, your assholes, your whores, extras, Schadenfreude Jr. towards Disney. The psychological, what other abuse? It's already on paper, the Dr. Parrots around the world. The Hague already happened with their Kim Van Dam. They won't speak about her pretenses. I'm not that girl. The Bureau de Veritas. Ship mermaid. The sciences were lost. The shit is void. You're paying kind. For what you lost. Kind for kind. You understand? The amount you lost on the Ghost Lines, you're going to pay for that. Because who made it lose is your problem, not mine. I can't kill those assholes on the Ghost Lines. You have to. And they're whores. And I'm sure you already did long ago. Ask their Kim Van Dam. You lost science and you lost corporations. And you couldn't get away with it. Because it was something big. You got yourself a hard on for killing that girl. And then you notice the void without her. And her buddies. Not your buddies, her buddies. The scientists. In other words, the CIA. The CIA who had it before, then had it again, and then lost it eventually. And they smashed it out on other science with all the flyings and runnings for the pirates. The sciences is elsewhere. It's nowhere near for us. So they're blaming the US. Reason? When something big happens in history, according to the Chinese and the UN, in science or in the world of intel, and you bring back Disneyland as pretty much desperate measure with an asswipe, a particular corn cob, as a mask, and you bitches are still sending psychos after me, you're not worth being called a nation on any level, US. And so when you have that many countries saying the same about a dead baby, it means you're shit as women and men. You're not men and women. Maybe you're not intel. Maybe I could say I'm an intel. I have a CIA badge. That doesn't mean I'm intel. Reason? Connected to us well and your eyebrows go. And I'm looking at him, I have the Mr. Marsh, she says, are you a careerist? Oh, she's starting again. To John. Don't speak like that to John. Okay. Right. So we get the idea. What the fuck? So, it's not that I'm being nasty. I'm 51 years old. I'm just telling you that if somebody had her head smashed in on the Ghost Lines, and they're of that kind, as Dirk Van Dam would say, and kind, because, having killers with big muscles is easy. If I smashed somebody like you on the Ghost Lines, do you think they'd bring back Pink and Blues? I'm just going to ask the US. Famous case of mystery. You're still denying Gone with the Wind. Ghost time. Ghost was smashed in on the Ghost Lines and the murder replacement. You see how news on the news angels were wise to goodbyes? Let me ask you who 21 July 20 was. On her standard. To what happened on the Ghost Lines. Let me ask you again. If I smash your head on the Ghost Lines, do you bring back genetics and Pink and Blues? That's right. The eggs. The pterodactyl eggs. Oh shit. Pink can't take it anymore. Pink is having another breakdown with this shit. Just for that. And that's not even mentioning the parrots of Fresno. It's not even a break. It's that the whole fucking world knows it. And you are such assholes in the US. Your entire Fresno and your entire Frisco. I've never seen cheerleaders wanting to kill Disneyland. I still haven't seen it. I've seen it too many times on my little crawlies. What was the girl good in on the Flyers and Run? You didn't like a hard-headed July 22-1 Flyers and Runners. You preferred that horn to be a fucking fart with a shit. With a banana boat. I'll tell you this. Motherfucking piece of shit. You're in the egg below the Veritas and Dr. Barrett's. I'm not suicidal, but I will drop a bomb on you. This is the bomb. Whatever you lost in the past with that girl will increase tenfold. Any scientist that wants to leave this country one way or another, do it now. You've just seen what is the standard of the PhDs of these rich snots. You've seen what you lost on the Ghost Lines with the Hague, with the smashed in head July 22-1. You've seen the ship. You've seen the yacht. You've even seen the blues, genetics after smashed in head on the Ghost Lines. But these whores don't understand anything about intelligence or religions. They're idiots. Therefore, we're sending them Disneyland after the smashed in head on the Ghost Lines. We're not even sending the blues. We're selling Elf so that they can throw shit at Elf after the coastlines, Hague. We're going to show to them what it means to smash somebody's head like that kind did Ken Van Damme on the coastlines and get away with it. You ain't getting away with it. You wanted the big one? You got the big one. Jews were involved in Mossad, even better on the coastlines. We don't like them, CIA do it. No, we don't. You've been helping the Mossad in Israel for how long? The gods. They even help your president. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about military assistance cooperation. I'm talking about what happens on your own soil, you fucking moron. I'm not speaking about some financial banks of Jews. I'm talking about space tech and technology on your coastlines. You know what I'm saying? Birthday? Big ass ship to the left that you forgot and you made it like, oh, Rosie, it's on the news. That shit. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the corporations. I'm talking about the Grays and Blacks corporations for Russia and Saudi Arabia. You know what I'm talking about? The ones, the pink ones and the orange ones from Poland and Egypt. That's what I'm talking about. You know, the European ones, the UN ones, the even British. You know, Snowden. I'll say heap of snow on the coastline. Martin? I guess Martin's supposed to see Martin. Look at those ears. Oh, Mule! Bruno! The coastline's fascist. Wasn't Bruno old news on the news? Of the leg. With Disneyland. You're gonna pay. And so when they rehashed Dead from the Coastlines and Intelligence in a particular court call, I've been saying that ever since there is Radio Globo and Scotland film. The reason they do that is to tell you to fuck off from the inter-communities delf. Nice mark. I am the most proud person on the planet to have the Delft social security number from Holland Bilderberg. Even without it, just the face. I'll tell you why. It literally is Delft, as a Delphi. In Lowland, Holland, and Newkirk. CIA. Radiantenna italiana. British radio antenna. Also international Russian antenna. Saudi antenna and Egyptian antenna. Come on, fuck cool. Even the Germans is a Mexico German antenna. Yeah. You know, I know it sounds scary, and you're afraid, and you're thinking of the smashed in head of the original girl that happened before the social security. Before I got my head and I changed into a crab to crabby that some of you even thought the crab was the original Muslim. And I had nothing to tell you other than that you are terrorists on your own soil and you lost a lot of scientists on the coastlines and pants never. That's what happened to me. I'm an insect. So, I'm talking about the coastlines. What was I saying? I'm too tired today. I'm talking about women who are jealous to the point of a genetic replacement child who had to explain that she is the same girl. And it calmed them down. But when she said the truth to their face in the masses, they got crazy with the psychos. Maybe there's something we should point out about the American girls. The normal ones and the psycho ones. The cheerleaders and the psychos. Alright, and the guys too, but Kim sempre que guys are as stupid as the girls. In the US, the only thing you care about is getting laid, having drugs, partying around, hating each other. And racists. I don't know. If this is how you live in the rich world or in the poor world, and you don't know how to live amongst yourselves in a place like the United States, I can guarantee you your intelligence in this country is always going to lose. Because if you're like that in your country, you'll never make it abroad. If they see an American with an iota of a brain, they'll attack him. And the ones without brains, and anything in between. After all, there are 200 countries in this world, over 200 countries. They hate Americans. In England, and Germany, and Italy, and Spain, Portugal, and Poland. Sorry to break your bubble. Oh, NATO and stuff like that's different. You don't understand what I'm saying. Romania, you'll find out soon. Hungary, ex-Yugoslavia, Bulgaria, Moldova, Russia, Finland, Norway, Sweden, Scotland, Wales, Ireland, North and South, and all the Brussels. Brussels does business with the US. That's about it. And not always. Greece, Turkey, the Arab world, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Morocco, Algeria, there's many others. Many others. Tunisia. And then there's China, India, Canada, Mexico, South America, and Australia. So there's a lot of countries out there that can't look at the Americans. And they won't. They don't like the US. No one likes you. You live in a bubble in the US that hasn't understood that the scientists that came from abroad you use, and then if you hate them, they're not there anymore. They're shipped to yachts, the corporations, they'll go with her. And they can continue, though they were intelligent enough to do that. So don't be so happy about such a big loss on those lines. Or angry, because that's pretense. Because that's like saying,
You do that many flyings and that many runnings, defending the parents against prisoners intel, and then, as shit happens on the coastlines, open your eyes, you don't care. Spectators of the show. And when they say spectators of the show, they mean it, US, literally, with me. And you were before, too, on that many runnings. So your hatred is you screwed your own country with all those guys. Whoever was with that girl from the Eastern Bloc or Russia, Arabia's, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Western Europe, the schools, the academies, the scientists, the corporations. Whoever was with that girl on that ship left. They're not coming back. This is the pin-up girl. Haig Tapman, they called me the mermaid, the Sirena, the one who made them fall. Meaning I was the strong one. I was a Russian, Saudi, July 21st century, who was with those flyers and runners on the coastlines and other places. Never had time to breathe. And a uniform, more than a clock, and a brain. When you smashed my head on the coastlines, I became crabby. Genetics. Now fuck you. Ask yourselves why in Western Europe it was the Opus Dei and everyone else blessing me and not your shit ass in Frisco, Fresno. Ask yourself that one question. Many of you are Jewish. I don't give a shit. Why? Because you are the ugliest people on the planet. To hate a Disney variant after the Hague of that kind of science, July 2021, when you know it's old news on the news. Hate her with Shanford Jr., hate the parents with verbal vitriol who are on retirements and friends and say, well, we carry your parents. You are whores and bitches in the US like there's no tomorrow. You don't have parents like mine, and you don't have brains like the original Jamila before the Hague, July 2021. You don't even have the courage to live as you are, and I lived as Disneyland. After you smashed my head on the coastlines, in 81 countries connected us with Western bars, thinking about the parents. You are terrorists, and you're far Western bitches. You want to turn me into a prostitute? After smashing head on the coastlines and all the crawlies and little crawlies and hate and Shanford and wanting cheerleading to kill me? You are a mentally retarded nation. No one's bringing back July 20th or 21st. Not in Massachusetts, not in DC, and not in New York. No wherever of the sciences that are empty, or California. And whoever was on that ship with that girl, when they called it Watership Down, when they called it Titanic long ago, and they kept reminding Disney what happened with that asswipe on the sciences on the coastlines with Weiss or Bowles. It's not going to change for your fucking PhDs. Or limousines. And no amount of hatred towards Disneyland after you heaped the original girl's head on the coastlines did Kim Van Damme and the Bureau de Veritas pin-up girl. You are terrorists. And your terrorists are your people. Your bitches and your whores. You're simply terrorists, US. And you don't need to buy in to terrorists, as in the terrorists like somewhere else. No. Your college kids, your high school kids, your Jews, your bitches walking around clapping while actual psychos are stalking me. Fuck you! You're not a fucking country. We're going to use all of this shit with Dr. Paris on paperwork. More federal paperwork from the European Union for Schadenfreude Jr. We're going to sue you and whoever lives at the Knox and Dolores and Thomas. All of your psychos. You had fun, didn't you, with greyhounds? Guess what? You have one major Roman pink-ass tribunal up your ass just for your extra bitches. Load of paperwork more for your chivos. expensive or not. Those are your extras. That's not mentioning the ghost lines. Hagged. The signs is empty, grays and blacks, and not some cheap ass pink cancers and others. And that I was female, and that the CIA brought back Disneyland, and you denied it, and you showed your hate, shows me exactly why you are the ugliest people. Some of you are not even American. I don't care. Some of you have dual passports, Israeli American, for example, and some of you are just what you are. This is San Francisco anyway. The Barons are in retirements in Fresno. You hated me. You brought your shit from Fresno here. The only problem is the hanging benches of Laura Quintus and Nelly Direct and all the East Coast and London and Rome and Warsaw Internationals and Russia and Arabia knew that girl was dead, knew about the Skull Club from Radio Club. I'm not going to make you feel good. But they are the ones who have Havana 696969 ever since that accident provoked by Ghost Lines. They know what you are in Fresno. They can give you a headache anytime they want. And they should have done that ages ago. Why? Because now you know what this fucking country is with Schadenfreude Jr. alone. Dr. Parrots. You're not the intel. You're just assholes. You don't have the intel to fix the shit on Ghost Lines. Not even fucking whittle it. And you're speaking about the parents? You're assholes, you ass. Crazy motherfucking the masses. Bringing back Disneyland after The Hague just showed who the fuck you are, you ass. Skokland from Radio Global. Goodbye.